One ought, every day at least, to hear a little song, read a good poem, see a fine picture, and, if it were possible, to speak a few reasonable words. If you treat an individual as he is, he will remain how he is. But if you treat him as if he were what he ought to be and could be, he will become what he ought to be and could be. A man should hear a little music, read a little poetry, and see a fine picture every day of his life, in order that worldly cares may not obliterate the sense of the beautiful which God has implanted in the human soul. Daring ideas are like chessmen moved forward. They may be beaten, but they may start a winning game. We do not have to visit a madhouse to find disordered minds. Our planet is the mental institution of the universe. I have possessed that heart, that noble soul, in whose presence I seemed to be more than I really was, because I was all that I could be. You can easily judge the character of a man by how he treats those who can do nothing for him. The human race is a monotonous affair. Most people spend the greatest part of their time working in order to live, and what little freedom remains so fills them with fear that they seek out any and every means to be rid of it. To think is easy. To act is hard. But the hardest thing in the world is to act in accordance with your thinking. Niemand ist mehr Sklave, als der sich für frei hält, ohne es zu sein. None are more hopelessly enslaved than those who falsely believe they are free. I have so much in me, and the feeling for her absorbs it all. I have so much, and without her it all comes to nothing. The world is so empty if one thinks only of mountains, rivers and cities, but to know someone who thinks and feels with us, and who, though distant, is close to us in spirit, this makes the earth for us an inhabited garden. I am proud of my heart alone. It is the sole source of everything, all our strength, happiness and misery. All the knowledge I possess everyone else can acquire, but my heart is all my own. Sometimes I don't understand how another can love her, is allowed to love her, since I love her so completely myself, so intensely, so fully, grasp nothing, know nothing, have nothing but her. All truly wise thoughts have been thought already thousands of times, but to make them truly ours, we must think them over again honestly, until they take root in our personal experience. This is the true measure of love, when we believe that we alone can love, that no one could ever have loved so before us, and that no one will ever love in the same way after us. To be loved for what one is, that is the greatest exception. The great majority love in others only what they lend him, their own selves, their version of him. The suffering may be moral or physical, and in my opinion it is just as absurd to call a man a coward who destroys himself, as to call a man a coward who dies of a malignant fever. There is no past we can bring back by longing for it. There is only an eternal now that builds and creates out of the past something new and better. Man is not born to solve the problem of the universe, but to find out what he has to do, and to restrain himself within the limits of his comprehension.